obviously. So you move around different countries. How do you support yourself when you're in these places?
Mostly it's working your butt off, doing whatever you can, save up a bunch, and then go. So working in Prague at the hostel was not so much a money maker, but a money saver. I mean, they covered accommodation, a good bit of food, a little bit of booze and party.
Right, things you'd be spending money on anyway, probably.
Yeah, the things I'd spend my money on now, I didn't really have to. And once I'd been there long enough, then there was a bit of a paid position, but we're talking like $5 an hour, you know, so.
Really getting up there.
Yeah, highest paying job I've ever had. So there are lots of opportunities, either volunteer or commission-based or, you know, sort of petty cash that you can do along the way to help sort of extend the funds. But as I mentioned, places like Australia, New Zealand, they have working holiday visas where under 30s can go and legally work and just rake in the cash and travel around at the same time. So I've just tried to capitalize off those as much as possible.
Use them because they do exist.
Yeah, exactly. And there's tons of countries that have those opportunities, and it changes country to country, and the age limits vary. But it's easier to find work out in the world than you realize.
I think that's the lesson here.
Yeah, you just have to be there.
And you've had some interesting jobs. We've talked about you've been a cow wrangler.
Yeah, a little bit. Took care of all
Ranch hand? Is that a better word?
I like dairy maid.
I like that too, actually.
Mostly because I had little pink boots that were given to me for the job.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, dairy maid. Although, it was not a glorious job by any means.
What else?
Working in the hostel was a personal party planner, and been a travel agent, lots of waitressing, and briefly I was a picker, planter, and packer of eggplants, or aubergine in Australia.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not.
So you really have done what you had to do, and probably had some interesting experiences working in a bunch of jobs that one human being probably doesn't get the spectrum of.
No, I've definitely, stepping through ankle-deep shit, I remember saying to myself, no one can ever call me a princess. I am earning my stripes right now. And having the opportunity to stay in one place and work and become a part of the community, you do really get a different look at what their society's like, what the community's like. A place like Australia, for Canadians, it's a very similar culture. But once you're immersed in it, you do start to see those little differences that, at the surface you never really would have expected.
You've thought about, obviously, you're very familiar with hostel life, about this more modern adult hostel type situation.
Well,
potential business opportunity.
Giving my brilliant ideas away. But now that I've seen so many hostels and worked in some, I think I know the formula for what makes a good hostel. Everything from, free towels to a solid common room and, group activities.
Shitty pool table.
And everyone needs a shitty pool table. But I think now that there's so many people our age who've grown up backpacking and traveling's become so accessible, they still want, your like late 20s, early 30s, late 30s, still want that social environment. They don't want to or not necessarily can spend the money for hotels, but maybe they want a little more privacy and still have that social community. So I envision having my own hostel someday somewhere that really targets that middle range. Make the focus not about, getting smashed at the bar, but, have these group activities to discover the area, see the natural beauty of what's there, and let people bond that way. Not to say there wouldn't be a bar.
Right.
Obviously, there's a bar.
People need alcohol.
They need alcohol. But yeah, this way it would really encourage, sort of the older backpacker group to continue backpacking the way they are. But, they don't have to deal with stumbling 20-year-olds coming into their room at night.
And I thought it would be great to totally kind of riff off of my WeWork lifestyle, is like to have a place to kind of like run a remote business, but also have backpacker availability.
Yeah, exactly.
Would be like, I mean, that's a very niche group of people, but like I think there's becoming more and more and more of them that kind of just run something on the side while they're moving through the world.
Well, and I think a lot of people, I mean, the ideal lifestyle would to be able to travel with your work. So using that, I mean, sort of more specifics, I thought a hostel like this would be great to be positioned just outside of a major city. So the reason that you go to this town is for the hostel. Like that becomes the attraction.
Right.
And it can be a week-long oasis where you know, do the activities or, you know, pop open the laptop one day. But yeah, to really provide a space where people want to stay for at least a week. You know, it's not sort of a transition kind of place. The reason you go there is for this hostel.